What is up, guys? Welcome back to BMW E90 HQ. In today's video, I want to go ahead and talk about the differences between the BMW 328i and the BMW 335i. Now, this is mostly going to pertain to my personal experience. I have a video out there where I kind of go over the differences in specs, so if that's what you want to see, I'll go ahead and card that video for you so that you can go ahead and check that out, get versed on the actual mechanical and specification differences of the two different E90 cars. So this is a completely like ownership experience. I've had my 2009 BMW 335i for about 5,000 miles now and about 3 months. I owned a 2009 BMW 328i and I owned it for about a year and a half and did about 30,000 miles in it. So I definitely had more time in the 328i, but I think I've had enough time with this car that I can tell you just on an ownership level what it's like to have on a day-to-day basis, which is more different, what the differences are between them, which one that I would prefer to have. Do I miss the 328i? So that's all the kind of stuff we're going to go over in this video. So first of all, let's get right to it. So looks. They look the same. The 2009 BMW 328i that I had was black. This car is silver. I had an M Sport bumper on that car. This car just has the stock bumper, but that's a modification, so you know, if they stock for stock, they look the same. Wheels. This car came with the sport package, so it had 18-inch wheels on it. My 328i did not. It came with some horribly ugly 16-inch wheels that I pretty much got rid of right away and replaced with some VMR wheels, and I do miss the VMR wheels, just throwing that out there. But these 18-inch sport wheels that came with this car, I like them pretty well. Not really in a rush to replace them, so it's not that bad. It's something I like over this car more. Interior wise, it looks the same on the inside. This car has a gray interior, the other one had a black interior. I know a lot of you out there complain about my gray interior. I like it, I really do. I like it better than the black. You might think I'm crazy. That's fine, it's an opinion, it's a car, it's the interior. I like it, I spend my time in it. So, you know, if you want to say you don't like it in the comments, say it in the comments. Let me know you don't like my interior. They both had the wood trim. I wrapped this one in carbon fiber, never bothered to do anything with the wood trim in the 328i. Once again, this car has a sport package, so it has a considerably better steering wheel. I really never held too much faith in the sport wheel and the M Sport wheel being that much better until I actually got this car. And I'm telling you, if you have a base model E90 out there, replace your wheel. Do yourself a favor. The seats are also incredibly better in this, but it's a lot more expensive to replace an interior than it is just to replace a steering wheel. So if I was going to suggest a modification for anyone that owns a non-sport E90 out there, whether it's a 328i or a 335i, sport steering wheel or M Sport steering wheel, definitely recommend that. Also paddle shifters. My 328i did not have paddle shifters, this does. Now, so far every difference I've covered in these cars could be spec to the 328, so it's not, these aren't straight differences in the cars, these are differences in the options of the cars. So now let's talk a little bit more about what is different on every 335i and 328i. So the big differences are going to be your motor and your transmission. 335i has the N54 motor and the 328i has the N52 motor, which is also in the 330i and 325i. It just has different software in each application and a little bit of different hardware in the 330i, but for all intents and purposes, it's the same motor across the three models. That's only for E90 generation also. So the difference between the N54 and N52 obviously is the N54 comes with two turbochargers. Even though both motors are 3 liters and inline 6s, the two small turbochargers make a huge difference. They're very small turbos and they're parallel turbos, and they pretty much provide boost immediately. You know, that's a lot of boost really fast. So with that boost, the N54 is an extremely torquey motor. It gives a lot of power right away. That's not to say that the N52 is not a torquey motor. I have a dyno graph somewhere. If I can find it, I'll go ahead and throw it over the screen of my 328i with the before and after the tuning. And it has a pretty flat torque curve that pretty much stays constant right around 200 foot-pounds, but that's the difference here, is that this car is making about 400 foot-pound of torque with the tune it has. I don't have anything but an intercooler and a charge pipe, so you know, that's another difference where these cars really have a huge difference. The M54 responds incredibly well to mods. Even a stock M54 with a tune will make a whole bunch more power than just a stock tune. So no modifications other than software. M54 is a beast. M52, you're going to need to do a lot of stuff. 3-stage intake manifold, headers, intake, exhaust system, and even then you're still only getting just a little bit of power. So but it's a whole different kind of power too, because the M52 builds power as you keep accelerating. The 335i gives you a ton of torque and holds it constant while your power increases, which is, like I said, similar to the M52, but it's completely different at the same time, just because of the sheer amount of power that this gives you. Now both motors do have a tendency, they kind of lose power towards redline. Now with the 328i, that's just kind of something you have to live with. But with the 335i, upgraded turbos, bigger turbos, inlets, modifications, all that stuff, intakes too, just intakes even, that'll all help with that, kind of work yourself away to that till your power band will basically take you up to redline. Other problem with the 335, well, it's not a problem, but the 335i is very powerful, and it will take you to 0 to jail time in just about 4 seconds. So the 328i, you can pretty much beat on it, use the gears, go through them all. I'm sure with a manual it's an epic blast to have. But the 335i can get you to going some pretty fast speeds before you even realize what's going on. So the motors are a huge difference. The next is the transmission. The 328i comes equipped with a General Motors transmission. It's 6-speed automatic. This only refers to automatics. I don't know about the manuals. And the 335i comes equipped with a 6-speed automatic from ZF, and it's a very good transmission in that car. It's nowhere near as good as their new 8-speed unit that you can find in the F30 models, and probably also can find in these new G20s that are coming out. The 6-speed ZF is nowhere near as good as the 8-speed one, but it's still great. It's better than the GM transmission. It can take a lot more power than the GM transmission too, so that's these automatics can pretty much hold anything up to 500 wheel torque, so without having any real issues, maybe 550 even. If you tried that with the GM one on the 328, I really don't know what would happen, because I don't think anybody's tried it, but I don't think it would hold that very. Now the last thing I want to talk about is the reliability aspect of them. So I had really good luck with my 328i. I've heard all the sorts of things about BMWs not being reliable no matter what model it is, blah blah blah. My 328 only left me stranded once completely, and that was the radiator cracking. And then I also had another time where it really wasn't drivable, where I had misfires from bad coils and plugs, but I changed those immediately, got that squared away. And so those are really pretty much normal things that happen on a car. A radiator is an accessory. It will go bad at some point, most likely. I mean, it's not a guarantee that it will, but it's pretty likely that at some point it will. The shop that I took it to was called Euro MV Auto Works, and they gave me like a whole flyer about the problems with BMW cooling systems. So there's all sorts of things with these cars with the cooling systems that you can have go wrong. But overall, the 328i, very reliable car. I liked it a lot, but it just didn't make sense for me to buy a 335i, keep the 328i, and try to buy a truck all at once. That's a lot of cars. I would be spending more money on cars than I would be on my house at that point, and that just doesn't make sense to me. So that's why I got rid of the 328i. But the reliability of the 335i, that's the elephant in the room with the 335i. It's a great car, but I mean, I'm sure if you own one of these and you've been in this Facebook groups, you've seen the memes about $10,000 in maintenance from the Fast and Furious. If not, that's going to be on the screen right now for you. So mine has, I've had to replace the whole ignition system, the valve cover gasket, the oil filter housing gasket, the little gasket that goes with that on the front for the oil cooler. I had to have a walnut blast. I had replaced my charge pipe, I've replaced my diverter valves, I've replaced the DTML pump, I've replaced the low pressure fuel sensor. Now, almost all of those things aren't going to prevent the car from running, so, you can kind of take those how you want to, but the valve cover was so bad that it was causing me to misfire because I was getting oil all over my plugs and my coils. I guess my coils, not my plugs, but and it was just misfiring over it every time I basically, get over 4,000 RPM. So the 335i has not been the most reliable car ever, but my hope is that I've addressed the issues and that won't be an issue going forward. Turbos are in good health, injectors are good, air-to-fuel ratios all look good. Everything in my data logs looks fantastic, so I'm really hoping that this car is pretty much squared away and will treat me well for a while, and that when I put on the downpipes and add more boost, I don't get a misfire. Alright guys, so that's all I got for this one. That's my personal experience and the difference between my M52 powered 328i and my M54 powered BMW 335i. Ownership experience right there. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you want technical details about that, somewhere in one of these card things that I've got posted right here will be a link to that video. So click that if that's something you'd be interested in seeing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.